Hi, I'm Alice Brown, a mom of 2 wild toddlers, and I'm expecting my 3rd here on Scrumptious Table. So glad you're back, or welcome if you're new. If you've ever thought to yourself, man, I wish I knew that before I had kids, this video is for you. Today I'm pulling back the curtain on 5 major things that I truly wish I knew before becoming a mom. These insights made a world of difference for me, and I hope that they resonate with you too. Let's get into it. So number 1 is the sheer and utter disruption to normal. And this isn't just about sleep deprivation, it's about the complete change in your entire day-to-day life. I knew that having a baby would be different, but I didn't realize how different it would be. My mind is constantly thinking about my kids and what they're doing and what they're eating, if they're safe or not. And that doesn't go away when they're not in the room or when they're being babysat by someone else. It's a complete change in the way that I think, not something that I really expected. With a newborn especially, your space isn't your space anymore. It becomes your baby's space, and you can't just spontaneously leave the house anymore. Just things that you never really thought were hard become hard, like going to take a shower or using the bathroom. Your baby wants to be with you. And none of this is a negative thing. It's just a new thing that it takes a little bit of getting used to. I used to envision myself as a mom being just really calm all the time and gentle, and motherhood just being natural and easy. And there are days when it's like that, but not every day is. Sometimes it's wild and crazy, and honestly, often I get stressed and anxious about things and, tired of the crying. That's normal and that's okay. It's a part of being a mom, and not every part is the beautiful part, but when you put it all together, it becomes a really beautiful picture. I also didn't expect how having kids would affect all of the clutter in my house. When my husband and I first got married, we hardly had anything at all. We didn't even have couches or a table that was ours. We were borrowing a table from my parents, and we really didn't mind living simply. I think it was really nice just to have a bunch of space. But as soon as kids come along, everybody wants to get them presents and toys, and that's wonderful, but it does affect every area of the house. There's toys in every room, there's baby things everywhere, and that's just not something that I really expected. I wish someone had told me at the beginning of motherhood that it's okay to get rid of things that your kids don't use, or that they only use for a little bit and then they're bored of. Through these past couple of years, I've learned that I can get rid of some things and clothes that don't quite fit right, or since I still dress both of my girls, I even get rid of clothes that are hard for me to put on them. Like if the buttonhole doesn't fit right, or whatever the case may be. It's okay to get rid of things to make your life a little bit simpler. Another thing that is completely different is how I cook and how I go grocery shopping. Shopping with 2 kids is kind of a wild ride sometimes. And sometimes I've got 1 grumpy kid, sometimes I've got 2 grumpy kids, and sometimes mommy gets grumpy too. Meal planning is completely different. Now that they're both eating solid foods, I have to account for what are my kids gonna eat, They don't always eat the same things that we do, even though that would be the ideal mom life, just to have your kids love everything that you ever cook. But that's just not the case. So planning meals out and planning out snacks is a lot different. Even through pregnancy, I realized that I needed a lot more snacks around the house. And before that, I didn't even buy them. It wasn't a necessity in our house until we started having kids. And trying to make things in big batches so that we have leftovers, that has been really helpful. But it's also really difficult to find the time to meal prep and do all of the things that just seemed like such an easy part of life before having kids. The second thing I want to talk about is the unseen mental load that you carry as a mom. It's not just the physical tasks of taking care of your babies and your toddlers as they grow older. If it were just the physical things, it might be a little bit easier, but there's a whole nother side to it that for me feels a lot more overwhelming than carrying a fussy baby around all day. All of the planning and thinking and remembering that has to go into being a mom is not something that I really expected. A lot of people talk about pregnancy brain and mom brain, but it's a real thing. Your mind gets rid of different memories or brain power that it doesn't find necessary for living because you're about to have a baby and need all that brain power for something else. And at first it was really embarrassing for me because I would forget things that seemed like an obvious thing. Or I would start a conversation and halfway through my sentence forget what I was talking about. And that continues to happen through being a mom and through multiple pregnancies. You continue to lose little bits of your brain, and all of that is for a purpose because there is so much thinking that goes into being a mom. As a mom, you have to remember appointments, what's needed for dinner, things that you need on your grocery list, or meal planning in general becomes a whole big task because you have to think about what your family wants to eat and things that you might need and put everything down on a list. And it's really nice to use lists, but you're still using a lot of brain power when you're planning those things out. Even just trying to leave the house, you have to remember, I need my water bottle, I need their bottles, I need a snack just in case. What if they have a blowout? I need an extra outfit. Diapers and wipes, obviously. Not to mention all of the other things that you may have to remember when you're leaving the house. If you are bringing a gift for someone, or if you have to go by the post office. Just so many things that you have to keep organized in your brain, and it becomes a lot. It's okay to feel overwhelmed by that, and it's okay to take a minute to get used to it. But it's also nice to know ahead of time so that you can sort of plan for that. This mental load of motherhood has also affected how I organize my house. With so much on my mental plate, so to speak, it really makes a difference when I get rid of extra clutter. Getting rid of some of that extra stuff, whether it's clothes or kitchen items or just random things around the house, it really makes a difference in taking a little bit of that load off of my mind. I already talked about meal planning a little bit in this section, but it would have been nice to have a system of meal planning and grocery shopping before I actually had kids. Before having kids, it was just so easy to wing it and figure it out as I go, but that definitely does waste money to just wing it because some food won't get used or it'll go bad before it's able to be used. Right now I'm using a really simple system for my meal planning. I get out my calendar and I use that to plan out all of my meals for the different days. And I only plan out meals for supper. Then for lunches, we either have leftovers or I plan one lunch to eat the whole week. Whether that be sandwiches or wraps or a casserole of some sort, we do the same thing for a whole week, and that way I only have to plan 4 lunches. I do the same thing with breakfasts. And sometimes I don't even plan out my meal plan for breakfasts. I just have the things that we normally like to eat, like oatmeal, eggs, toast, things like that are my go-tos for breakfast. To make supper meal planning simpler, I do A certain day of the week is the same thing. My husband really likes pizza, so every Wednesday we have pizza. Also, on Sunday evening, we always do either pancakes or waffles for supper. And then a certain day of the week, I will try to make a Mexican dish or have a day of the week for Asian food. And those meals I switch up a little bit more, but at least I have a system for what I'm going for. That way I don't have to start from scratch every month. Then if we really like a meal, we can repeat it either twice a month or maybe just repeat it every month. And that takes a little bit of brain power out of meal planning for me. The third thing I want to talk about is the myth of bouncing back, both physically and emotionally. Obviously, physically, if you've just had a baby, your body has just gone through a major change, growing an entire human being inside of you. You have to give yourself quite a bit of time to heal and recover from that. Your body is never going to be exactly the way it was before you gave birth. It's a huge transformation. Whether you gave birth vaginally or had a C-section, it's a huge change either way. That's definitely something you need to have your mind prepared for. Physically, I think bouncing back is a total myth because you're not gonna bounce back to who you were before you were pregnant. But also emotionally, I think it's a myth to bounce back. And that's not something that people really talk about a lot. Emotionally, at least for me, I feel like a completely different person than before I gave birth. Especially if you have postpartum depression, that is an absolute wild ride and really hard to deal with, especially if you're not expecting it. But even if you are expecting it, it's kind of crazy how your mind can just totally change about things, and your body's hormone levels will actually change the way that you feel about things, and it can be a little bit scary. It's important to realize that if you have postpartum depression, your hormones in your body are changing a lot of the way that you think. And the mom that you are right now going through it is not the mom that you're going to be later when you're past it. You really have to lean heavily on God and trust Him. And if you can, talk to your doctor about getting some supplements, some vitamins that will help you. I wouldn't recommend antidepressants, but that's just me. I'm not a doctor. There are some really great natural things you can do to help improve your mood. After my second daughter was born, I was dealing with a bit of that postpartum depression. I actually wrote out a list of things that helped me when I was feeling down. One of them was to apply an essential oil, and it didn't really matter what essential oil, it just helped me feel better to put oils on my body. Another thing that I put on my list is working out. It's not something I've ever wanted to do when I was feeling down, but if I made myself do it, I would feel better after, and that really helped. Another thing is take a nap. I know that sounds really silly, but taking a nap and just laying down for a few minutes, even if I couldn't actually sleep, because sometimes my husband would be at work when I really needed some rest, and I would just lay down on my kids' floor and let them play around me, and I wouldn't even sleep because I was afraid of them hurting each other or choking on something or whatever. But laying down and just getting a little bit of rest would help me. Another thing is to drink water. I would forget a lot to take care of myself when I was feeling down, or just wouldn't really care to eat or drink anything. But once I would start to eat and drink again, I would feel better, and those things really helped me. And I know it's really simple and elementary, but just having that list on my fridge, whenever I was feeling down, I would look over it and I would be like, oh yeah, that would probably help if I did those things. That way I didn't have to carry solutions in my head. I could just have it on a list to look at. Another thing that helped me in the emotional and physical roller coaster right after having a baby was decluttering again. Getting rid of things that were no longer necessary for my new life as a mom. For example, clothes that I knew I was never going to feel comfortable in again, or even getting rid of some jewelry that I just felt like didn't feel like mom jewelry. I don't know if that's weird, but it helped me to kind of let go of who I used to be before I was a mom and kind of embrace the fact that now I am a different person than I was before. And that's okay, and that's wonderful, and not something to be sad about, it's something to be excited for. I already talked a little bit about eating postpartum, the fact that it's good to keep food in your body, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about it. It really does make a difference in your mood and your overall well-being. So I would recommend as much as possible to eat healthy foods that nourish your body and that are not just filling your stomach. And I do need to take my own advice on that a lot, because even still, it is hard to remember to keep my health and my kids' health a priority. Number 4, the importance of community and asking for help. It's so easy to feel isolated, especially as a stay-at-home mom, when your husband's gone at work all day and you're at home with this baby that really you hardly know. You've just started your relationship with them, and although you're excited to be a mom, it's kind of like, what do I do? You know? And it can feel really lonely if you don't have anybody to talk to about it. It's really crucial at the beginning that you find other moms that you can communicate and talk to about mom stuff, asking each other questions and sharing stories, just sharing life together. I'm so blessed that I have this community in my church already. I have not only a pastor who cares about me and wants me to follow the Lord, but also a lot of other moms who are in the same boat as me. Moms having babies, moms who want to serve the Lord, even though we're unsure how to do that when we have so much on our plate. And we're kind of navigating through it together, which is really special. Having a community of loved ones around you can even help you with organizing and decluttering, whether it's having a sister or a good friend come over to help you organize, or having maybe grandparents watch your kids for a little bit so that you can do it by yourself. And that can honestly be very therapeutic to get a couple of hours to yourself just to organize a certain space in your home. I've done that a couple of times with my sister, and I'm so grateful that she's willing to help me out with watching my daughters for just a little bit of me time. One of the most amazing blessings of having that community in my church is that they always plan out 2 weeks of meals right after you've had a baby, so that you don't have to worry about cooking. You can just rest and take care of yourself and your baby for 2 whole weeks, which is just incredible that they would care that much and take care of each family in such a great way. Especially at the beginning when you're just getting to know your newborn and figuring out life with them. Having a meal train like that is really, really special. And finally, number 5, your kids will show you who you are. More so than anything I've ever experienced in my life, having kids has really tested and grown me in a lot of ways. Especially toddlers like to push your buttons, and they know all the places to push. When life gets busy and crazy and chaotic, what's the thing you turn to? It's really easy to try and rely on myself when I'm going through those hard moments, but I've found that doing the easy thing is usually not the right thing. The harder thing to do is to take a break, sit down and rest for a moment, pray, read my Bible. Even though there's a million things that need to get done, having a few moments with the Lord helps me reset and reminds me of the person that I want to be. I'd like to be a mom that honors God and honors my husband and teaches my kids to do the same. My kids have shown me where my weaknesses are and where my strengths are, and I love that I get to grow as I watch them grow as well. Being a mom has also helped me evaluate what's actually important in my house and what I can let go of. I can now have a more intentional approach to organizing, prioritizing less things and more memories in my house. Cooking for my kids has also helped me to spark new interests and go in different directions than I normally would when I'm cooking. Also for holidays and things like that, I've had such a fun time cooking things that my mom or grandparents have cooked for me and bringing those old memories into our new home. So I guess that's it. 5 things that I wish I knew before becoming a mom. Thank you guys for sitting and chatting with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.